Live here on the ITC 2024 show floor. I'm joined by another innovator, Lisa Jillson from Arity. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thank you, Miguel. I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. So just give us a few minutes on what Arity is. I know a little bit about it. I'm a little bit of an alma mater from Allstate, but
yeah, you're a little insider.
A little insider, but I would love to hear in your words what's the Arity value proposition.
Sure. So Arity was started about 7 years ago to be a leader in data and analytics around mobility data. And so the focus area that we have leaned into is really how can that mobility data help make transportation smarter, safer, more useful for everyone, not just for businesses like our own and carriers, but also for the consumer. So one of the ways we've leaned into it, and one of the reasons we're here at ITC today, is because the data, the mobility data, is especially valuable to insurance carriers in all parts of the, if you will, consumer life cycle of being a policyholder. We started probably similar to other, I would call telematics or mobility data supply providers, focused around what I'll call traditional telematics, which is all around, a policyholder would come into a carrier and then you'd sign them up for a program like DriveWise, which is Allstate's program, or Drive Safe and Save, which is State Farm's program, or Snapshot, which is Progressive's program. And the company would the carrier would set the price at time of quote, but then they would use this program to either provide a discount or actually even a surcharge for consumers. That is how insurance telematics has worked since the beginning of insurance telematics, which has been the early aughts, so 2002, somewhere around there. Right. Where we saw the big advantage is not just looking at those programs as being where the value can happen. The value really, from a carrier perspective and from a consumer perspective, is to move that data and allow the consumer to use that data upstream. Right. First of all, from a carrier standpoint, to be able to use that data to allow the carrier to actually target the best drivers and bring them, almost change their funnel so that you could bring more valuable consumers into your book of business. Consumers that are safer drivers, consumers that are going to increase your combined ratio, so that you're really in a place where you can balance that profitable growth. Right. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to take people that are not as safe a driver, but you're going to acquire them at a better rate. Right. And then you move on to the pricing point, and so I've acquired that customer, they've come in through the quote funnel. And if I have that data, if I'm a carrier and I have that data at time of quote, then I've got an incredible ability to give a personalized price that's going to stick. Right. It's not a price that in 3 months or 6 months is going to go up or down by 10%. It's actually going to be the most accurate price for that consumer. It makes a ton of sense. It doesn't negate the traditional pricing factors of your age and your territory or garaging zip code.
It enhances it.
It really enhances it, and it enhances it not by a factor of 1 or 2. It enhances it by a factor of almost 10. It is so much more accurate. I mean, the way pricing works today for traditional auto insurance is honestly as much about whether you paid your Macy's bill than it is about exactly how much risk you are on the road. So it really will upend the entire ecosystem because it will allow the consumer to really control what their price is, and it will allow the best drivers to actually pay a much more accurate rate and not be paying for others around them. But then you move on to the customer experience, and part of what we can do with our data is we can also drive services for customers. Those services can be things like crash detection. So you're in a crash, you can't even call for help, and an app can actually call out and get you help right away.
Love that.
And then finally, like that post-crash, that claims experience, the telematics data can actually really help drive much more efficiency, much more effectiveness in the claims experience. So it's really valuable across the entire life cycle. So where we've leaned in is actually more on the front end and on the back end. And yes, the traditional telematics still makes a ton of sense, but that traditional telematics is only one piece of it, and really much more value can be for all carriers if they look at both ends of it.
Love that. Thank you so much for your time, Lisa. This is amazing. It's been amazing to watch the innovation coming out of Arity, and I wish you the most success going forward. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you, Miguel.
Lisa Jillson, another innovator here at ITC 2024.